Welcome to Motivational Memories. I'm your host, Josh Honko. I want to say thank you to everyone who's liked and subscribed this stream and the podcast. It's been really great to start seeing it grow, start seeing the view hours go up. It's fantastic. So thank you so much for that. Want to wish all the fathers happy Father's Day. This is probably posting a little bit after that, but I wanted to wish everyone happy Father's Day for all the men out there that are doing what's right and traditional and being there for their children. I think that is a trend that we all want to see continue and become more and more of a thing. If you don't have a dad, if you don't have a father figure in life, that's the purpose of this podcast, is to give you somebody to hear you out, and frankly, if you want to reach out to me personally, I'm here and available for you. But it's really to kind of lay out principles that I think are really important for men, really important for boys that are growing up, and these are the ideals that I think women want in a man, just purely for my own marriage, and things that will make you a better person in general. So that's the whole purpose of this. This is a very special Father's Day for me. This is the first Father's Day for me, for my son. It is a little surreal that it's almost a year since he's been born. It's a lot has happened in that short period of time, and also seems like it's gone by so fast. So I'm treasuring today, focusing on it. This weekend was really great. My wife did some really great stuff. Had some people over the house, cooked. We went to church. It was a great time. It was a great time. I even got a really cool gift from church. I was apparently the shortest time period being a dad at the church. So they gave me a grill set because all new dads need to be able to grill out for their family. So that's why I got that, which was super cool and awesome of my church, Bay Life. They are just fantastic, and it's a great community of guys there. I'm trying to get more involved in that because I think it is really important to have a community of dudes that are like-minded and hanging around them and being around them. It's really important. We are tribal people, and if you're isolating yourself, or if you're veering off and doing your own thing, it can damage you to a degree. You need to be interacting with people on a regular basis. You need to be communicating with people on a regular basis. You need to find that even outside of work. Work can be a tribe in some senses, but I think you need something even outside of that where it's not all business, or it's not all whatever job you're doing on a regular basis. So that's something that I think is incredibly important. So, this Father's Day, look for other fathers, look for other dads, people that are in your own life stage. I think is really important and really critical, because then you can share life together. You can go through those experiences and have shared experiences and be able to, really focus on that together. And also being a young dad, being around other young dads, we can talk about the struggles and talk about the different things that are going on. The things I reflect on is making sure I'm there for him on a regular basis, making sure I'm interacting with him on a regular basis. I get tired when I get off work and I'm like, I don't want to, but I try to make time to play with him, spend time with him, love on him, because that's really important in the development of a child. I think it's also good to build the habit now, even if he might not be remembering it now. I have the habit, right? And that's something that will continue throughout his life. So I think that's, think about that today as Father's Day, of like, what are the habits that you're making around your children? What are some of the habits that you're making around your marriage? You want to make it be about the repetitive. You want it to be about consistency, because that's where real growth is built. You do it for a week, you do it for a couple of weeks, probably not going to remember it. If you do it for a year, you do it for 2 years, you have little traditions, that's what they're going to remember. That's what they're going to focus on. So creating, and that's where nostalgia is born, is the ability to have those traditions, That's something I'm looking forward to as my son grows older, is having traditions with him, whether it's us going hunting, whether it's us going out into nature and doing some fishing, whether it's sports, whether it's, any of those different type of activities. I even have some arts and crafts hobbies. I like putting together Legos. I just put together the Millennium Falcon. It's really cool. But doing those type of things with, my son, I'm looking forward to that, and building that bond, because quality time is one of the most critical when it comes to building long-standing relationships. If you're not communicating with somebody on a regular basis, that relationship's going to die. And that's constantly putting feelers out. It's constantly talking to that person. And you might be able to pick it up like a year or 2 years later, especially if you spend a lot of time with that person and then you don't spend any time, but then you reconnect. But that base foundation of togetherness, that is what makes it up. I think that's what the most important thing about being a dad. And they joke, dads just have to show up, right? But that's super important, showing up, being there, being an example, talking to them about your morals and your values. It's incredibly important, because that is also, another thing about us as human beings. We used to be all of our telling stories and telling and passing down traditions. That's how humanity has been linked throughout the ages. And if you're not doing that, and you're not talking about, you don't have to go back to your ancestors, but if you're not relaying that information and those details, that diminishes the fabric of society and humanity, of like, hey, where did our family come from? What are our values throughout history? What are things that we've accomplished? And if you don't come from a family that has those good standings, then you can also say, look, this is the things that you're going to have to overcome, the things that you're going to have to, the challenges you'll have to face, or inspire them to be the best in your family, right? Like, there's that element too. But I think, again, communicating, relaying, talking, and telling stories about the past, what you've done as a person, how you've grown as a person, how your grandparents grew, how your great-grandfather fought in World War I, or whatever the stories are. Those are the things that really bring that fabric into the relationship. That's something I really am thoughtful about. As of late, I've lost, both my grandparents have passed away. My dad, he's getting a little bit older too, and I want to make sure that my son and all my future children interact with not only history, but the family history. Like, what makes us up? The fact that my grandfather came on a boat from the Philippines post, I believe it was the Vietnam War. It's either Vietnam or Korea, where America lost so many doctors that they wanted Filipinos to come and become doctors in the States and do the residency to backfill that gap, because there's so many lost in the war. So because of that, my grandparents came to the States and they started to, be doctors here and build things up, and they laid a foundation of success that I can look to and like model after. My grandparents owned a lot of properties. So they did a high paying job, made a lot of money, put it into property. And that's something that I am trying to replicate, where, a lot of my savings, properties. Yeah, I got some, I have 401ks, things like that. I have stocks, and that's fantastic. But from a rate of return standpoint, I want cash flow. I want to get cash flowing properties. But that family history, unless I'm spending time with my son and we're fishing, and I tell him stories about his grandfather, that's lost. That is lost because it's not written down. The people in your family, they're not famous. They might have a Wikipedia. I highly doubt it, though. So unless you are passing that down, it's lost. So I think, that's something that is really important to me, is making sure I spend time. I think it's part of the reason I'm doing this podcast at all, is to be able to pass that information on too. That's, I think, one of the most critical things that us as fathers do, is give that information, give that insight, be there. We're a support system too. We should be a place of comfort. It should not be a place of fear. Are my kids going to be scared sometimes of punishment? Yeah, probably. You know why? Because it's me on the rod, and and you do damage to the child. But at the end of the day, they should see me as a place of safety and of comfort, and that if they're in trouble, they can always call dad. I don't care what situation they've got themselves into. I will be there to help extricate them out of it. And that's something I do look forward to, and something that I hope and pray that I can instill in my children, is that I'm there for them in all things. Regardless of what they're going through, regardless of what they're facing, I will face it with them together. And one thing that our Heavenly Father does, He does not test us beyond what we are capable. So every child, life is going to suck sometimes. Life is going to be really hard. But our Father, our Heavenly Father, and me as a father, will be there to cradle my children and make sure that they're okay. And I think that's one of my most important role as a dad, is to do that and to inspire safety and trust. Fun dad's great. That should definitely be a part of it. But safety, capabilities, the fact that they could come to me and think dad can handle it, regardless of what it is, whether it's physical, whether it's an altercation, whether it's finance, any of that. I should be well equipped in my skill sets to be able to help take care of my family and help solve their problems. I should be their problem solver, not just my own. And the only way that you're capable of solving other people's problems, you get some of yours under control. You make sure that you are spending the money the right way. You are making sure that you're saving the right way. You're making sure that you're not living outside of your means. Different things like that, where someone could call me up and say, hey, I don't have money to move, but I'm in a really bad situation and I need to get out of it. And I can make a call, all right, or I just go book the U-Haul, and I can do that. But the only way I have that capability, I got my finances in order, and I'm working hard to grow in the money. And God has blessed me beyond measure in that case, but that's a really big part of it. Get your crap together. That is something that is, if you want to be a good dad, you got your crap together. You know how to grill. You know how to change a tire. You know how to, take care of bills. You know how to yell at a customer service rep, or not yell at them, but you don't know how to negotiate with a customer service rep to get a bill pared down. Different things like that, different negotiation skills, different research skills, super critical as a dad. If I don't know how to change oil in a truck, I know how to figure it out, though. YouTube, and getting in there and doing it. So, if you want to be a better father, or if you don't have a dad and you're like, what does it really mean? It means that you're constantly trying to self-improve so that you are able to not only take care of your stuff, but then you're reaching out to your children and saying, hey, I got your stuff too. Don't worry, I got it. And it's also being there with them, spending time with them, so that they can get that sense of comfort, because they're not going to get that unless you are there conveying it. They're not going to get it if you're just saying it. You have to have some level of action behind it. So I think that's some of the most critical things when it comes to being a father, and making sure that you want to be a good dad, be there, take care of stuff, make sure things get done, make sure things are handled, and being able to be truly a leader. Because if you're married and you got kids, you are the head of that household. Biblically, that is our role, is the head of the household. That doesn't mean we are the boss and we just dictate and we do. True leaders inspire people to be better. They inspire people because they're in front. The best leaders are the ones that lead by example, the ones that are out in front with you, in the trenches with you. Those are the best leaders. Those are the ones that make all the difference. So that's what it means to be the head of the household. It doesn't mean that your boss or your wife just submits to you and your children just submit to you. A submissive wife is a wonderful thing, but that's not what it's about. What it's about is You are taking care of everybody's stuff. You take on their burdens. You know how Christ takes our burdens onto him. We, to a degree, take that on from our children, from our wives. And we hold on to that and we carry it forward and we take care of things and we move forward. And sometimes you push your feelings down. Sometimes you have to, as a leader, you put your people in front of you. That's what it means. You are not selfish, right? So sometimes you don't want to do it, but you put them in front of you. Sometimes your wife needs some stuff done. Would I rather be on a golf course? Absolutely. But you know what? Sometimes I got to take care of that. I got to take care of business. I still need to do a better job of that. I still think I need to grow in that area. But that's what it means to be a father, a dad, a husband. You are the head of the household and you bear the weight of that responsibility. You bear the weight of those burdens. It's not easy. It shouldn't be easy. But God designed us as men to be able to take care of that and to grow, because that we are the fundamentals, right? Like if we're taking care of things, then our family is able to grow and able to thrive, and that contributes to society and that contributes to the kingdom. You know, if my children see me reading my Bible on a regular basis and talking to people about Jesus and not being afraid to talk about Jesus, even in this world where, you know, it's about pronouns, it's about this, it's about that, you know, and Christians are getting a bad rap because we are apparently hatred, bigot, you know, hate mongers, but that's not what the Bible says at all. You know, no, I don't love sin. No, I don't condone sin. But I love the person. I love the individual, right? But my kids aren't going to get that unless I take on that responsibility and I'm doing it on a regular basis. You want your kids to be sharing the gospel? You want your kids to be Christians? Why aren't you doing it? Why aren't you talking to people? Do your coworkers know you're a Christian? If not, then that's a problem. And if you're not a Christian, you're watching this, you know, a lot of what being a dad and being a good father and being a good man, a lot of it comes from the Bible. A lot of it comes from traditionalism, right? And they'll see it time and time again. The best, most, you know, way to reduce crime, the way to have the best, most stable house, it's the nuclear family. And what's at the center of the nuclear family? You have the father, the head of the household, you have the mother as a support system, and then you have the children underneath both of them, but the parents are the partnerships. That nuclear family definitely stems from the Newer Testament, and it stems from a lot of traditional and Christian family, and that is what has built the modern age. It's the majority of the growth in the United States is when we had volumes of nuclear families. And now that they are trying to break down nuclear families, these freaking communists, and I honestly, I don't think that the Democratic Party has had a fundamental split. There's the liberals and then there's the communists, straight commies. I would say Bill Maher and a lot of those other guys that are more in the middle, they are true liberal Democrats. The AOCs and all those other, they are communists. Can't argue with communists. No. But, you know, again, if you fall on that side of the aisle, take a hard look at the data of what is the most successful methodologies. And traditional families, they are what built the modern age. You know what tears down the modern age? Not that. When you have the fundamental breakdown of the nuclear family, that is when empires fall. And there's a reason for that. And it's because fathers are most likely not taking care of their business. Their fathers are abandoning their children. It's on us. It's on our shoulders, the fundamentals of society. If traditional men do not shoulder their responsibilities, society crumbles. It's us, person to person. That is what makes America great. It's what makes the Western world great. It's why it's why society works, because we do the work that we do. So, you know, that's something that I've been reflecting on this Father's Day and you know, thinking about my son, and I cannot wait to start to instill some of these things into him and start to watch him grow and blossom. I've already seen him grow so much in the past year. It's been fantastic. So I hope this is helpful. I hope that this message comes across clear. Please like, subscribe, watch the video, leave a comment. All of that is incredibly helpful because I think this is a message that needs to get out to more people. There's a lot of people talking about different methodologies in it, and I want to be a contributor of traditional content to help raise more Christian men and women out there to be a better society, because that's what's important right now. If we do not get more of this, society will crumble. This is the foundation of the society, and God made it that way for a reason. Hope you have success in life and in business. Thank you so much for watching.